So good morning, student. So student, day before yesterday we have learned about the different surface activities that is responsible for to changing the surface of earth. Okay, in that we have know about the two types of forces, that is endogenic forces and exogenic forces, and what is the work that is happening due to these forces, what is the cause, what is the results due to these two types of forces. So we have studied about that is endogenic forces, exogenic forces, and what did endogenic forces do. They did a certain forces, that certain forces is different types of certain forces, that is first one is earthquake, that one is second one is volcano, third one is landslide. Okay, second we had know about the diastrophic forces. The diastrophic forces is responsible for two buildings and mountain, and we have already know that how a mountain is formed due to the help of different types of plates that is under the earth, under the ground, you can say under the ground. There are different types of plates, and we call that different types of plates is lithospheric plates. Okay, second one is exogenic forces. So student, we have also studied about it, that what is exogenic forces. Exogenic forces is that types of forces which is applied outside the earth, means to say the different types of structure is there like mountains, plateau. So that forces which is applying outside the earth, and due to that there are some sudden changes happening. Sudden changes, you can say, are slowly or instantly changing happening on the earth due to these types of exogenic forces. So we have know about it already in your before classes. Okay, in for this exogenic forces, there have a responsible causes due to that this changes is happening. For those causes, the responsible things is that is river, wind, sea waves, and glaciers. Okay, so we have already know about and already studied about endogenic forces and the regions and the changes that is happening due to the earthquake, volcano, and landscape. Okay, so today we will study here the changes that is happening due to the responsible factor of exogenic forces. The factors is responsible for exogenic forces, that is river, wind, sea waves, glacier. So what changes is happen due to the help of river? What changes will be happen due to the help of wind, or due to the uh, actions of wind, or due to the actions of river, and due to the actions of sea waves, and due to the actions of glaciers? So that things we will study in today's class. Okay, so let's start our today's classes. So there are your topics is today, that is major landforms. Okay, so in major landforms, before we started our topics, let's start to read this small subtopics here, that is major landforms. So here is the landscape is a being continuously worn away by two processes, weathering and erosion. Means to say the continuously changes that is happening on our surface of earth. For that, two things is important there. The first one is weathering and the second one is erosion. Now what is weathering and what is erosion? Let's see here. Weathering is the breaking up of the rocks on the earth's surface. I think you understand these things. Weathering is the breaking up of the rocks on the earth's surface. Weathering is a process due to that the breaking up of the rocks. If the rocks is breaking up continuously, rocks of big types of stones, if that is breaking up continuously, so this process is called weathering. And what is the cause of breaking up of rocks? We will know, we will study about that in our next subtopic. Okay, so before first, you know what is the meaning of weathering here. The meaning of weathering is the breaking up of the rocks on the earth's surface due to some regions or due to some earthal factors. Okay, what is those all factors? We will know about that within a minutes. Okay, so wait. So I think you understand the meaning of weathering. Now second thing is erosion here. Okay, now what is erosion? Erosion is the wearing away of the landscape by different agents like water, wind and ice. Okay, when the rocks will be breaking up in a small parts or in a dust like structure, then all that agents which carry that breaking up material from one place to another place or deposit that somewhere else in some other places, so that things, that wearing away of the landscape by different agents. So if that all materials that is break up, that is broken up due to the weathering process, so the process is that when that all materials will be carry from one place to another place and deposited there in the other places, so that things is called erosion. And erosion is happening due to the help of some agents. That agent is, first one is water, second one is wind and third one is ice. Okay, so hope you know about the two process. That is, first one process is weathering and second one process is erosion. And due to the help of these two process, okay, due to the help of these two process, there is a continuously changes happening on our earth. We have already know about the all that regions. Due to that the changes is happening under the ground. Okay, now we are studying here the process due to that the changing is happening on the surface of our earth. So we have these two types of forces. First one is called endogenic force, second one is exogenic force. Now we are studying here about exogenic forces. Okay, so in the exogenic forces there is a two types of process is happening here. The first one is weathering, second one is erosion. Okay, so the erosion and weathering, I think now you know better these two types of things, these two types of process. Okay, now let's start. What is the role here river, what is the role here wind, and what is the role here of ice or glaciers to the process of erosion here? Okay, now start here. The eroded material is carried away or transported by water, wind, etc., and eventually deposited. Okay, this process of erosion and depositions creates different landforms on the surface of the earth. So I have already explained the changes that is happening on the earth is due to these two types of process. The first one is weathering and second one is erosion. And inside the earth the process is happening due to the earthquake, due to the volcano, and due to the, please remind your first topic, due to the help of landslide. Okay, and the second one is due to the help of diastrophic forces. The diastrophic forces is carried out with the help of different types of plates that is in our under the surface. Okay, now let's start and let's try to know about the role of river here, how the river carried changes on our surface. Okay, let's start. The work of a river. The running water in the river erodes the landscape. When the river tumbles at steep angle over very hard rocks down a steep valley side, it forms waterfall. So you can show in the pictures there have a river, and river is following down through the some hard rocks or some rocks that have a good heights. Okay, so when the water is follow down from these rocks to the next levels, to the down levels, then these types of process is forms or structure that we call waterfall. Okay, so when water or river is following down to the next surface, or you can say when the river stumbles at steep angle over very hard rocks or down a steep valley from a over a very hard rocks or down a steep valley sides, it forms water wall. Okay, so simple, not that much difficult. So what is waterfall? Waterfall is a structure. A waterfall is a types of shapes that is formed due to the following down of waters. Okay, so this is called waterfalls. Now as a river enters in the plain, so you can say river started from the heights of mountain, that then it follows following down into the surface of plains. We have already discussed about this process in your sixth class also. There are different type of structure. River started from their mountains, then that follow that, then that rivers follow in the plains area. So when the river is enters into the plains area, then what happen? Now see here, as a river enters the plain, it twists and turns, forming large bands known as meanders. Okay, due to continuous erosion and deposition along the sides of the meanders, the ends of the meanders loop come closer and closer. In due to course of time, the meanders loop cuts off from the river and forms a cut-off lake, also called an oxbow lake. Now student, here is a very important structure that is formed due to the following flowing of rivers, that is oxbow lake. Now how the oxbow lakes is formed, you can see here pictures also. Okay, so what is happening here? This is called meanders. Okay, so when some rivers carried a different types of material with them and deposited that material along with their sides. Okay, rivers enters in the plains area from mountains area, they carried with them a lots of material like muds and like soil, different types of things, dust particles. Okay, so when that rivers deposited that all material along with their sides, so slowly what happened, when due to this process the material is collected, a lots of material is collected there, then what happening due to the course of time, what happened there, the river cut that parts from their sides. You can see here in the in your screen, there about in the left side there about structure there that is called oxbow lake. Now you can see what is happening there. There is a water forms, and along with the sides of there about soils, muds, all types of structure you are seeing there. So what happened when the with this continuously this process, when lots of material is collected there, deposited there, then with the course of time, when rivers cut these parts from their sides, from their side, then what happened, there is become a oxbow like structure. Oxbow means, I hope you have seen the structure of legs of ox. When you see ox, then observe their legs. There are legs of ox. When you see the ox structure, ox legs structure, so similarly with same of that same structure is formed here like oxbow. Oxbow means, I have already told, the ox have a legs. When you observe their legs, they have a specific type of structure below their legs. So similarly that structure is formed here. Due to that similarity, we called this structure oxbow like oxbow lake. That is similar in the that is similar like similar like structure of oxbow. So we call this lakes is oxbow lakes. Okay, now next, at times the river overflow in the banks. This leads to floodings of the neighboring areas. As it floods, it deposited layer of fine soil and other materials called sediments along its banks. This leads to the formation of a flat, fertile floodplain. Okay, the raised banks are called levees. As the river approaches the sea, the speed of the flowing water decreases and the river beings and the rivers begins to break up into a number of streams called distributaries. The rivers become so slow that it begins to deposit its loads. Each distributary forms its own mouth. The collection of sediments from all the mouths forms a delta. Okay, now what happened? This is an oxbow like structure. Okay, this is formed due to the sedimentations of different types of material that is carried out by with rivers. Similarly, river carried out with them lots of deposition and deposited that along with their sites and forms a new types of land, new types of fields. That all types of fields is very productive, and that all types of fields is called flood plain. Okay, like Ganga plain, Brahmaputra plain, okay, Yamuna plain. That all types of plains is formed with the help of same process. Okay, the raised banks are called levees. You can see here in the structure there are written over here levees. Okay, so how this levees is formed? This is formed with the same process when continuously the sedimentation process is happening there. Then due to this process, the heights of the fields is increased. Okay, so this increased height of soils is called levees. So this is a sudden change that is happened with a long course of time, and this is happened due to the help of rivers. So this is also a sudden change on our surface, and this is a types of forces, that is exogenic forces, and it is happened due to the help of river. So I think you have understand about these things. Okay, now the next topic is work of sea and work of ice. So student, we will start these two small topics in your next class. So in today's class you try to understand. Yes, one thing another here, that is when the rivers is comes across or near the sea. Okay, when the rivers is comes near the sea, then there have a speeds of river become so much slow. Why? Because they have a long plain and a plain surface. Okay, so when the rivers come from mountains, then they enters into a plains area. After that they enters into near banks of sea. When the rivers is come near the sea, then what happened there? Rivers break up into a different types of in a different parts, in a different distributaries. Distributaries means they're helping canals, different types of rivers becoming there, different types of helping distributaries. So these different types of different distributaries, when enters near the sea, they collected all material there which they carried with them. Okay, so with the help of that all materials, they forms a different types of structure that we call delta. We have already studied about it in a 6th class. There are delta in banks of river, that in banks of Ganga river, that is called Sundarban delta. Okay, so similarly that process, all the rivers that comes into near of sea, then there they made a form or different type of specific type of structure. What we call that all structure, that is called delta. This is formed with the help of different types of distributaries that is being participating, that is happening due to the partition of rivers into a different parts in a different distributaries. Okay, so this is called delta. The best example of delta in India, that is Sundarban delta. So I hope you have understand these all types of topics. So student, this is your last topic in your chapter, that work of sea waves and work of ice. We will start these two topics in your next class. Hope you understand and try to understand in home also. Okay, thank you.